r/AskReddit by Redmond Dtes. Who's the worst human you've ever met? John Wayne Gacy. My dad was a farmer and did a lot of construction. Every Thanksgiving my mom would invite one business associate of my dad for Thanksgiving dinner. She had Gacy come over in 75 or 76. I was around 10 and my brother was 17. He offered my brother a job, but my brother turned it down because he already committed to joining the Marines. What I remember of the man, Gacy was very nice to me and my siblings that day and made balloon animals for us. Went to high school with a dude who always seemed off. We avoided him as much as possible. One night my buddies and I left a great party just because this dude showed up. There was something about him. He moved a few counties away not long after high school. He is currently serving life in prison for sodomizing his 3-month-old son and trying to hire a hitman to kill the judge who sentenced him. Edit. Blew up, so I'll add more. As far as I understand, the baby survived, but required a number of surgeries. I didn't read too many articles about it because it was so sickening. He was given life for attempted murder. This was in the mid-90s in South Florida, so that baby should be in his late 20s. I don't know anything about him. I hope he's doing okay. I was in a weightlifting class with a guy who would end up killing a babysitter with a hammer and tossing her body in the river. Oh, back when I worked in the OR, I had a patient once who stayed in a criminal psych unit, long stay department, as in he would never be outside the confines of the unit anymore. Guy was actually really nice, although he made my neck hair stand up. He was bound to the hospital bed in a full set sigufix, minus headband, and he was escorted by 2 armed security guards, which in itself is rare in normal. They stayed with him till he was under anesthesia and would only leave when we could guarantee he was under. Although he was a nice person to talk to, he was extremely dangerous. At some point in his life, a switch flipped and he had strangled his 3 kids, all under 8 years old, stabbed his wife, and set her, still alive, on fire, burning the house down. That one was creepy. My stepsister. She killed my father. I met Bill Cosby. I knew a guy who shot stray dogs for fun. Closest to a serial killer I've ever known. I went to rehab with this younger guy, super charming. The rehab was a dual diagnosis high-end place, so while we were there for addiction, there were underlying mental health issues being addressed. This guy, who seeming had the majority of people wrapped around his finger, rubbed me the wrong way. I can tend to be manipulative when I'm unhealthy and spotted him very early on. He ends up getting kicked out for sleeping with another patient, and it comes out that he was a serial rapist and helped his dealer get rid of his girlfriend's body after she OD'd. He never got caught. Within months of getting kicked out, he responds to a Craigslist ad to help this old guy move some boxes. He beats the guy to death, ties him up with cords and tries to exsanguinate him in the bathtub. The neighbors come and check on the old guy, and he steals the guy's car, hits the neighbors and goes on a joyride to another county. He's doing life in prison now. Guy at my church as a kid. He made my skin crawl even as a little girl. He was a cop and worked for my church's kids youth group as the game's leader. Guy got removed because he would give winning teams snacks and not let the losers have any. He also singled out kids who were weaker in some way or who weren't allowed to participate in games like dodgeball. He seemed happiest if someone cried or was mad at him, but powerless to do anything. He was only found out because a parent walked in on him verbally abusing the anti-dodgeball kids. He was banned from helping with games after that. Years later, after moving, I found out the guy had been in another city with his family and beat the absolute crap out of his middle son in broad daylight. He resisted arrest and was shocked that he was being investigated at all. Due to the nature of his crimes against his wife and children, there was an investigation due to the fact they fostered. He was arrested and is still in prison. His wife divorced him as soon as he was sentenced took the kids, and lives in another state. Guy at my middle school who beat up and raped his girlfriend. My dad. He is in prison for 85 plus years for CSA. He beat me and my siblings every day of our childhoods. He enjoyed torturing and killing animals, specifically cats. He justifies every horrible thing he has ever done by saying that God sent him as an emissary to bring about the end times, and supposedly has a small cult following in his block. Ex-friend who raped his 9-year-old sister to see what it felt like. In juvenile, he was badly treated by the others in the system. An ex-friend who raped his younger sister and even younger male cousin, and numerous other unfortunate people who have crossed his path. My dad. He abused all of us in various ways during the few years he was part of our lives, and now can't seem to understand why we don't want to see him. I worked as a veterinary technician and met a woman who said that her husband would catch the stray cats near their farm and bury them in the dirt with only their heads sticking up and then run them over with a lawnmower. Absolutely pure evil human. My grandmother. A narcissist incest pedophile. I struggle to live so much after everything she's done. It's so sick and parts of me worry she might be doing to others what she did to me. A distant relative. She held her own daughter down for 2 men to rape in exchange for drugs. Her daughter caught HIV from this and committed suicide as a result. For a short time during my childhood my siblings and I were staying in this person's house. Or maybe the man my grandma married after she divorced my grandfather. He stole all of my grandma's belongings to fuel his drug addiction, physically abused her, molested my mother, and abandoned my grandma as she was dying of cancer and unable to even get out of bed. My Boy Scout troop leader. He raped 2 of my friends. He groomed us by showing us straight videos in the late 70s. He wanted me to put on a condom and F a pommel horse. I refused, everyone else complied, and I was called a sissy among other choice words. I don't think he even did time for the rapes. My ex. One of the worst people. You hear those horror stories of women lying to the police that they were sexually assaulted. Yeah, happened to me, as well as 11 other charges all made up. If it wasn't for the fact I had every message and email proving all her words against her, I could have done 15 years. All because she got mad I told her new boyfriend she cheated on him with me. Well, turns out the worst person I've ever met was, comparatively speaking, not actually all that bad. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more? Have a nice evening. Tell your friends about me.